Saigon Newport, its role in gateway, main ports and supply chain connectivity in Vietnam. He is Deputy Director of Marketing, Saigon Newport Corporation, and the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of the workshop. As you can see on the slide, Saigon Newport is a Vietnam value, and I don't know if you know this value. Vietnam value is a recognition given to companies that are leading in the industry. So basically, Saigon Newport is a leading port operator and logistics service provider in Vietnam. So today I'm gonna focus on Saigon Newport roles in gateway and main ports and supply chain connectivity in Vietnam. I've been talking to a couple of persons for the past few days, and I realized that they still get confused between Saigon Port and Saigon Newport. Do you know the difference between these two ports?
No.
Okay. Saigon Port is totally different. It's Saigon Port belongs to Vietnamese, which is under Ministry of Transport. Saigon Port has a long history, more than 100 years. Saigon Newport, our company, is the opposite. We are very young, pretty young. This year marks our 25th anniversary, so only 20 years old. But we have made a tremendous progress since the establishment. You can see the symbol right here. That is the symbol of the Vietnam People Navy. So Saigon Newport belongs to the Vietnam People's Navy, which is under Ministry of National Defense. So basically, we are a military unit doing business. So that is a very brief introduction about Saigon Newport. So the following is the four topics that I'm going to be talking about. So first of all, I will talk about the role of Saigon Newport in Vietnam seaport system, and then I will talk about the connectivity and role and capacity of Saigon Newport in Vietnam, and last of all, I will be mentioning cooperation opportunities. Okay, last year, you see on the slide, last year export and import turnover reached more than 130 billion US dollar, and that is more than 15% increase compared to the previous year. And in Vietnam, more than 85% of import-export cargo are transported by ship, and the less than 15% of cargo transported by air or by road. So I want to emphasize the importance of Vietnam seaports. This morning, Dr. Thu from Vietnam Maritime Administration introduced to you the Vietnam seaport systems. So regarding the gateway ports, in Vietnam, by 2020, we will have three gateway ports in southern part, in central part, and northern part of Vietnam. And if you see the logo here, that means by 2017, Saigon Newport will be operating 2 of the 3 gateway ports in Vietnam. Currently, we are operating 3 terminals in Cái Mép area. Cái Mép is a deep water area in the southern part of Vietnam. And from our terminals here, there are direct services to American ports and European ports, as well as Asian ports. The ship can be accommodated here is more than 10,000 TEUs. You can see services to the west and east coast of USA and to European ports. And I'll go back to the one which is called HICT. And this will be the first deepwater port in the northern part of Vietnam. Right now, there's no deepwater ports in Vietnam. And this terminal will be operational in 2017. So you can imagine from 2017 onward, Saigon Newport will be the operator of 2 gateway ports in the south and the north of Vietnam. So that's why we can say that we play a leading role in the Vietnam seaport system. Now I'm going to talk about the main port clusters in Vietnam. There are 3 main port clusters in Vietnam, in the north, the central part, and the southern part of Vietnam. In Hải Phòng City, in the north of Vietnam, we are now operating 2 terminals. And these terminals can accommodate ships up to 15,000 tons. In the central part of Vietnam, we have 1 terminal called Tân Cảng My Thu Terminal, and this terminal can accommodate ship up to 15,000 tons. And I will spend most of the time talking about our terminals in Ho Chi Minh City, because as you know that the southern part of Vietnam accounts for nearly 70% of the country's total trade. So in Ho Chi Minh City, we are now operating Tân Cảng Cát Lái Terminal, and this terminal ranks among top 40 in the world in terms of throughput volume and in terms of technology. The other 2, Tân Cảng Hiệp Phước Terminal, will be operational next month, this year. And Tân Cảng Phú Hữu Terminal will be operational next year, maybe the 3rd quarter of next year. So this is the Tân Cảng Cát Lái Terminal. You can have some basic information about the terminal, top 40. We have 1.5 kilometer berth length, and ship up to 40,000 tons can be accommodated here. Every week, there are about 60 ships calls, and we have 20 Panamax SDS cranes and more than 200 terminal trucks. But Tân Cảng Cát Lái in the near future will be not enough because the trade keeps increasing year after year. So that's why we have a strategy to develop further, one in the downstream area and the other one in the upstream area. So from next year, in Ho Chi Minh City, we will be operating 3 terminals. And these 3 terminals can meet the increasing demand in the southern part of Vietnam, especially in Ho Chi Minh City. And in Mekong Delta, I don't know if you know Mekong Delta. Yeah, Mekong Delta is considered as a rice field of Vietnam. From here, we export a lot of rice and also the agricultural produce and seafood. And we also have the terminals here, small terminal for river trade vessel, for barges. Right now we have 5 terminals, and we're going to have 1 in next year. So we have the leading role not only we have the ports located in the key areas in Vietnam, but also because we have the biggest market share in Vietnam. So in Ho Chi Minh City, last year our market share was 85%, and for the first 9 months of this year, we account for nearly 90% of the market share. And in the Cái Mép area, last year we made up more than 70%, and for the first 9 months, this figure goes up to 83%. And nationwide, last year we accounted for half of the market share, and the first 9 months, we account for more than half of the market share. So you can imagine 2 containers coming in and going out Vietnam, 1 container, 1 box is handled by Saigon Newport. So that's why we can probably say that we have the leading role in the container terminal sector. Okay, the next thing I wanted to touch is the logistic role, Saigon Port logistic role in Vietnam. And the slogan is more than port operation. So long gone is the time when port was considered as the place that cargo were gathered and handled and transshipped. So Saigon Port has a strategy to get involved in value-added services apart from the ports. Vietnam, as you know, is becoming an important link of the global supply chain. Thanks to the perfect location, Vietnam is very close to the main shipping route, and also Vietnam has the connecting point with other ASEAN countries. For example, the East-West Economic Corridor, or the South Economic Corridor with Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam, or with China. And there's the fact that recently we have seen the relocation of giant manufacturers from other countries to Vietnam. Like you can see, the Samsung has invested in Smirnoff manufacturers in Vietnam, Nokia, Bridgestone. So because Vietnam has the advantages over other countries in terms of labor costs and business environment. So so I come back to the previous idea that we get involved in further business. So we set up the second core business, which is logistics. And because we think that a perfect network of logistics, ports connecting with logistics center or ICDs, or warehouses or distribution center, will enhance the role of ports in supply chain. ICD is dry port. It's considered as a port, and cargo can be delivered or can be handled here. So Saigon Port has been actively developing ICD or logistics center in the whole country. This is the map of Southern key economic area, with Ho Chi Minh City is right in the heart of the area. But Duyên province right here, Dong Nai province is right next to it, and Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu is here, and Long An province. So this area is the most important economic area in Vietnam. And this area has attracted the biggest number of FDI projects. A lot of industrial parks and export processing zone is here. So we want to bring the ports to the customer. We want to develop the hinterland. So that's why we set up ICD, Tân Cảng Sông Thần ICD, Tân Cảng Long Bình ICD, and Tân Cảng Nhân Trạch ICD in these areas, close to the cargo source. And also we have the network of warehouse nationwide. You can see we have warehouses in the south and the north of Vietnam. But how can we connect our premises? We connect our premises by various types of transportation. You can see we have the waterway transportation. We have subsidiary specializing in waterway transportation. We got trucking company, and we also have shipping company, our daughter companies. Our barging services cover Ho Chi Minh City and Ca Net area and Mekong Delta area, and also get connected to Cambodia. So container will be transported from Mekong Delta to Ho Chi Minh City or to Ca Net area by barge. And barging, of course, is much more economical compared to trucking and more environmental friendly. And we have also one company that is providing the barging service from Cambodia to Vietnam and vice versa. Not only barging, but also by trucking. So currently, we have more than 300 container trucks and cargo trucks. But our target by 2017, Saigon Newport will operate more than 500 trucks. And we have been providing trucking service to customers nationwide, and even we expand the service to Laos and Cambodia, cross-border trucking. And this is our third core business, which is domestic shipping. So we connect our ports in the southern part of Vietnam to the central part of Vietnam and northern part of Vietnam by not only trucking, barging, but also by feeder ships. And the last part of my presentation, we talk about the cooperation opportunities. We have the strategy to further set up ICD warehouses and logistics centers nationwide. Because ICD warehouses and logistics centers play an important role, not only logistics, supply chain, but also help enhance the role of ports. We will expand the existing ICD in the 9 province, and we will invest in ICD in Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu and Hải Phòng City in the north of Vietnam, Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu in the southern part of Vietnam. We got ICD projects in the north of Vietnam, like in Hanoi capital, or Bắc Ninh province, and central part of Vietnam, like Đông Hà, Quảng Trị, Dung Quất, Quảng Ngãi, and Da Nang city. We also look for partners to set up joint venture in logistics, and as well as to expand the agency network around the world. And Saigon Newport has recently gotten involved in global trade promotion. Just for your information, after I get back to Vietnam, our top management will fly to San Francisco to promote trade and to further links with San Francisco City. And we also boost connection between Saigon Newport and other ports in the APEC region. And we also get involved in authorized exporting, importing, and connecting with export-import companies in APEC. And last of all, Saigon Newport is calling for cooperation in human resources for not only ports, logistics, but also in shipping. So that's the end of my presentation. So thank you for your listening. Just to sum up, Saigon Newport is different from Saigon Port, and there are 3 core businesses that we are getting involved in: port operation, logistics service providing, and domestic shipping lines. And we are calling for cooperation from all the companies around the globe. Thank you.
Well, there you are, ladies and gentlemen. That's the subject.